So this is a take-home assignment kind of a thing for a MERN intern position. Just want to let you know that I don't know anything about MERN. I am working as a backend engineer, so mainly on my job I use Java, Spring Boot, Python, Kafka, Elastic, but I've never worked on MERN. So I'll try to see how far I can go with solving this. So it is intern level, so I'm not expecting it to be very difficult, but let's see. It will be challenging for me because since I don't know anything about MERN, and the idea is that I will be taking some help from ChatGPT and from the internet as well. So let's start with it. So this is our assignment. Let me just open it in the browser. Okay, so let's try to go through this assignment once. So I'm not mentioning the company name or anything like that, and I've also removed one of their link from here. That was an AWS link to this file. So this file I'll provide you inside the GitHub repo that I'll be sharing in the description. I'm quite comfortable with backend, but I haven't done any backend in Express. So I'm thinking about starting with the backend and let's see how far we can go, and then maybe move on to front end or in the next part of the video, or let's see how it goes. So for backend they have given us a data source and the request method, and it's just a JSON file. So if you will open it, I've downloaded, I think. So we have the file here, as you can see, product transaction.json. So I'll just make a new folder here. Let's call it MERN intern challenge, and I'll cd into it, and I'll copy my product JSON into that project, and I'll also copy this MERN intern PDF. So we have all of this, and I'll also do a git init here. So now we can see when I'm doing git status, we have this. So I'll just make one commit starting. So I'll say is an init commit. So add JSON and PDF for requirements. I think that is a good decent enough commit message. So now if we check, we have this file. So let's read through these requirements. So we have a product.json. We will come back to product.json in a while. We have to create a get API. So create a get API to initialize the database, fetch the JSON. Okay, so they want an API to initialize the database, fetch the JSON from the third party API, and initialize the database with seed data. Okay, so the seed data is above, and you are free to define your own efficient table collection structure. That is fine. That seems quite doable. Next is instructions. All the APIs should take month. Okay, so let's start with the instruction. All the APIs should take month. Expected value is anywhere between January to December as an input, and should be matched against the field date of sale regardless of the year. Okay, that is fine. So we want to create a get API. So I'll just write down the API requirements. So I'll be using my text editor for this, and let's create file. I think I'll create some task. So one get endpoint, that is to initialize. So I'll call it just init is fine, I guess. I'll change it later. Okay. And then we want to define our own efficient table structure. So I'll probably add another point, create DB schema based on the JSON. So that seems fine. And let's see, what else do we need here? And what else do we need? So we need another API, and one high level detail is every API should take a month as input and should be matched against the field date of sale. So I'll just write it here, month needs to be matched with our date of sales. Okay, let me see, what else do we need here? Regardless of the year, that is fine. And create an API to list all the transactions. So I'll create one endpoint called, it's a get endpoint, I guess, right? So I'll call it transactions. Let's move this. Okay, transactions API should support search pagination on product transaction. Okay, so this itself has some requirements. We want a search functionality, and then we want pagination as well. So pagination, based on the value of the search parameters, it should match search text on product title. Okay, so they have given us some searching logic, that which fields they want to message the user input with. Text on product title, description, and price. So I think I'll just do one thing. I'll add it here. So we want them as a separate point. I'm not very sure, but let's make them separate, and then we want price. Okay, so I'll write here search param. Okay, if search parameter is empty, then based on applied pagination, it should return all the records of that page number. That is fine. Default pagination values are like page equal to 1 and per page is 10. So for pagination, we have two things, our offset, or we can say limit. I'll call it limit and offset. That is, I think, very standard for pagination. So limit is 10 and offset is 1. So these are our default values. Okay, this is fine. Let's create an API for statistics, total sale amount of selected month. Okay, so we want another API here, and stats API, and this will be all these points. Well, the total sale of the month, selected month. I think these points are quite understandable, that you want total sale amount of selected month, total number of sold items of selected month, and total number of not sold items of selected month. Okay, and what else do we need? I'll just see. So with get, create an API for bar chart. Okay, the response should contain price range and the number of items in that range for the selected month regardless of the year. The response should contain price range. Okay, we want price range there and number of items in that range for the selected month regardless of the year. So they have given us an example as well. Okay, so we need a bar chart here. Okay, all right. I'm thinking it should be inside our stats or a different API for bar. I'll do a different one right now. I'm not focusing too much on the API design for now. So let's call it bar chart, just a simple name. So this is also get endpoint. Okay, this one should contain price range and the number of items in that range for the selected month. Okay, so we want that from 0 to 100 in the month January, how many products were sold for that price. Okay, this is interesting. Then we want create an API for pie chart, find unique categories. So we want to get some unique categories and numbers of items from that category for the selected month regardless of the year. Items from that category for the selected month regardless of the year. Okay, so for X category, we want how many items were sold in that month. So another for our pie chart. I'm thinking I'll do a chart endpoint and I'll take a query parameter, something like this. I can do this and then I do here, I'll say type. This is fine. Okay, I'll do something like this. And we have a sample example. So I'll copy one of the example here. Okay, this seems fine. Okay, create an API which fetches the data from all the three above mentioned APIs, combines the response and send the final response of the combined JSON. So we want another API, so that is like an aggregator API kind of a thing. So I can do chart and I'll say type is all. Okay, so above three I guess is pie chart, bar chart, and this stat. So probably we should do, I'm not sure if I should change the name of this, but then I think we will mess up here, this chart. So what I'll do is I'll do stats here and stats here as well, and I'll say type is text. These are like simple text based statistics. This will be bar, this will be pie, and this will be all. So I think default I will say is all. So even if you don't give this parameter all, then I'll return the response JSON for all these three API. For separations, I think we can separate it out here. These are two separate things. So like if someone is working on this on a project, someone might be, we can do these part parallelly. And the thing is, we want to decide on the schema first, and then this is, I think, the main search part and pagination. So I can also separate it from here, and I'll say this is like our search part and this is our stats part. Okay, the formatting, right? And this is like initial thing. I'll write it initial setup. So this is like one time thing. Okay, so for the data, if I go to my coding challenges, we can see we have our product.json. So I'll just open it here, product.json, and then we have our JSON here. Okay, so this is fine. So this is the JSON structure that we have. We have an array, and inside array we have all the objects. We're given an ID, title, price, description, category, image. Also we have old flag, and then we have a date of sale. So date of sale is like a string, and This seems like our UTC format, I guess. Okay, let's start with the what I'm thinking. Where should I start? I should probably start with creating the DB schema based on the JSON. Thinking I should keep it like pretty simple and do Mongo and dump all the data. But I'm not very sure if it will be efficient or not for now. But that is like one simple approach I'm getting in my mind. So let's just start with that and see how it grows.